Inclusion, LUCA.
All right, I can tell. So let me first preface, I'm an old lady. Can't hear so well, I can hear, but please just project a little bit. And you said got it.
Very little southern, yes.
And I'm assuming the stenographer has these. Okay, great, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Katie Jo Richards for the City of San Antonio.
Donna McElroy for the City of San Antonio.
Carl Brown, lead staff attorney.
Carlos Castro. Ricardo Garcia Chavez, lead staff attorney.
Do y'all normally?
I would like to invoke the rule. I don't know who all these people are.
Exactly, so, thank you for that. I think we've got in these hearings, you have observers who come to observe. Are any of the folks sitting behind me, expected to be called as witnesses?
Not for the agreement.
Not for us.
Okay, so we've been over, so everybody's here, a witness. Do either side wish to have any of these folks identified? I know I was introduced to some of the city, police staff, but, I don't know if that's anything to that. And then we have other observers who will not. Alrighty, we are now ready, I suppose. This is an indefinite suspension, so, we have, are you prepared for your openings? Alright.
Ms. Hargrove, thank you for your time and participation in this process. As the evidence will show, this is a pretty straightforward matter, and Mr. Castro should not be reinstated as an officer of the San Antonio Police Department. Mr. Castro violated both the SAPD policy on warrantless searches and entry and its use of force policy, which violations resulted in his indefinite suspension. Mr. Castro seeks reinstatement to the San Antonio Police Department after he broke down a citizen's door and beat him so badly that he had to spend 3 days in the hospital, ended up with a broken nose and a broken orbital bone, all for an alleged misdemeanor traffic violation. Let me be clear, there was nothing else that led to the conduct of Mr. Castro that justified either breaking down the citizen's door or administering the violence to Mr. Wilson that occurred on January 16th, 2020. Nothing. The evidence will show that Mr. Wilson, who was in his driveway and the door to his vehicle was closed, walked away from the police who were trying to detain him. Mr. Wilson did not take any action that would indicate he wanted to escalate his interaction with the police. By the time Mr. Castro made it to the door of Mr. Wilson's home, the door was closed and locked. Instead of de-escalating the situation, Mr. Castro began to kick in the door, eventually breaking into the home. The evidence will be clear that the only thing that Mr. Castro knew when he was breaking through Mr. Wilson's door is that Mr. Wilson was being pursued for traffic violations. Mr. Castro's report indicates that he saw Mr. Wilson speeding. There was no crime in process. Mr. Castro will claim that he thought Mr. Wilson may be getting a weapon and he smelled marijuana coming from Mr. Wilson's car. This he smells after the car doors were closed and locked at the time he went by the car. Neither of those reasons justify the conduct engaged in by Mr. Castro. There's no evidence that Mr. Wilson threatened the police or brandished any weapon. Mr. Castro, after the fact, made a claim that he thought Mr. Wilson might have a weapon or might be going to get a weapon. That is at best a story he made up to try to justify his actions. If in fact Mr. Castro thought that Mr. Wilson had a weapon, the evidence will show he put himself in harm's way by standing in front of the door trying to beat it down. His explanation simply defies logic. A reasonable officer, genuinely concerned about the possibility of the subject obtaining a weapon, would have established a perimeter and called for backup additional units to contain the situation, especially since there was no exigent circumstances that warranted immediate entry. The evidence will also show that the claim of smelling marijuana is also just another attempt to cover up his wrongdoing. The citizens of San Antonio deserve to be protected by police, not have their doors beaten down and their faces bashed in over a traffic stop. Putting Mr. Castro back to work and on the streets is not appropriate. This is not a situation where an officer had to make a split-second decision about how to deal with a felony that was in progress. It was a traffic stop on the east side about 10 p.m. in the evening. If Mr. Castro does not break down Mr. Wilson's door and instead de-escalates the situation as he was trained in the academy to do, no force would have been required. Mr. Castro does not deserve to be a member of the San Antonio Police Department, and this tribunal should decline to overturn Chief McManus's decision to indefinitely suspend him.
Thank you. Would you like to do your opening now?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Madam Arbitrator. Officer Carlos Castro and his partner Joshua Keys were working in a specialized unit to prevent crime and drug trafficking in the east side of San Antonio. On January 16, 2020, they saw the suspect traveling at a high rate of speed, 48 and 35. Suspect turned right onto North Lamar, again traveling at a high rate of speed. Officers Castro and Keys sped up to get behind him and activated their emergency lights. The vehicle immediately turned into a driveway at 1942 Lamar. Officers Castro and Keys exited their vehicle along with two other officers and gave the suspect multiple commands to stop. The suspect did not comply. Officer Castro reported that he could smell marijuana in the vicinity of the car when he went by that car. And incidentally, marijuana was found in the vehicle along with other drugs. None of the officers present wanted to rush the suspect because they did not see the suspect's left hand. An unknown male from inside the house opened the front door and the suspect ran in. This male put himself between the officers and the suspect so the officers could not arrest that suspect. Another officer took that male into custody and into a patrol unit with the thought that the suspect was either destroying evidence, retrieving a weapon, or going into a house that wasn't his. Both officers, Castro and Villarreal, tried to get into the home, but the suspect pushed back on the door and prevented the officers from entering. Both officers attempted to gain entry into the home by kicking the door. Both officers knew that they had to act quickly because they were at a disadvantage in that location on the porch. Officer Castro found a metal stool on the porch and placed it inside the threshold of the door. Officer Villarreal deployed his taser, but it was ineffective. However, at that point, Officer Castro and Villarreal were able to get inside and continue to give the suspect commands to get on the floor. The suspect refused and pushed both officers away. Officer Castro was able to get the suspect on the floor. At that time, the suspect put both of his hands underneath his body and appeared to be reaching for his waistband. You'll see video to support this fact. Because the officers believed that the suspect could be reaching for a weapon, officers used all reasonable means to get him to comply, to get him in handcuffs. Officer Castro was on the suspect's right side, Officer Villarreal was on the suspect's left side. The physical confrontation stopped immediately after the suspect's hands were put into cuffs. The suspect was transferred to the hospital and his medical needs were attended to. The evidence and testimony from SAPD instructors will show that Officer Castro acted within policy because they were exigent circumstances to enter the suspect's home without a warrant. The testimony and evidence that you hear today will show that Officer Castro used a reasonable amount of force to achieve and accomplish a lawful police objective, which was arresting the suspect. Despite these facts, Officer Castro was put on administrative duty the following day. On the 14th of May, 2020, Officer Castro was ordered to Internal Affairs to give responses on 2 allegations regarding the incident. He complied and gave an interview. On the 3rd of June 2020, Officer Castro attended the Plaintiff Administrative Review Board, CARB, where he answered questions by the sworn officers and the civilians comprising the board. On the first allegation, the evidence will show both the sworn and the civilians voted for a 5-day suspension, the allegation of injury to the home. On the second allegation, the use of force, the sworn officers did not find a violation, and the civilians agreed on a written reprimand. On the 9th of June 2020, Chief of Police McManus issued a proposed 15-day suspension for Officer Castro. On June 10, 2020, Officer Castro signed the proposal. The 15-day suspension proposal referenced 2 civil service violations. Officer Castro was ordered to return to his assignment with the unit and reported to the Academy for further training. However, inexplicably, on the 12th of June 2020, the chief, without an explanation, issued a proposed indefinite suspension referencing 4 civil service rule violations. Unit alleges a violation of Officer Castro's due process rights due to this change. The unit points to the written statement of Officer Villarreal, the other officer mentioned in this incident, who was on scene during the incident as a comparator. We emphasize that no one from the San Antonio Police Academy were consulted about the allegations, and in some, because of all the facts and testimony, we urge this arbitrator to reinstate Officer Castro with all the benefits and compensations due to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, are we ready to proceed with the witness? Well, first of all, is there a witness list?
Yes, I have copies.
Is it, okay.
I have copies of yours too, Ricardo.
All right, who's our first witness?
The city calls Sergeant Ryan Lisa. Yes. Here's this. Ready?
Yes.
All right, let me go ahead and swear you in. All righty, Sergeant Lewis, would you raise your right hand, please, sir? Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Thank you very much. There is sort of an echo, so if you could please project and speak up, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, can you please state your full name for the record?
Ryan Scott Luja.
All right, and how long, what's your occupation?
I'm a supervisor for the San Antonio Police Department.
How long have you been with the San Antonio Police Department?
A little over 19 years.
Okay, and you're a sergeant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been a sergeant?
Since January of 2017, so 8.5 years.
Okay, and where are you, what's your current position?
Currently, I'm an administrative sergeant in the chief's office.
Okay. How long have you been in that role?
3 years.
Okay. What do you do in the chief's office?
I'm our drug testing coordinator, the return to duty coordinator, and I'm the supervisor for the executive protection detail.
Okay. So you mentioned you've been with SAPD for a while. Can you give the arbitrator some background on when you started and how you started and what role?
Yes, so I graduated the academy in May of 2006. I worked patrol for about 6.5 years. Then I promoted to detective for a little less than 4 years. And then I've been a sergeant now for, like I said, 8.5 years.
When you were on patrol, what side did you work on?
I worked the Northwest Peru substation for 6.5 years as an officer. And then as a detective, I was on West Patrol and South Patrol combined for 4 years.
And when you were at Internal Affairs, you were a sergeant, correct?
Yes, and I was there for 4 years as well.
What was your role in Internal Affairs?
So I was an investigator for 2.5 years, and I was the administrative sergeant for 1.5 years.
Okay. As an investigator, what were your duties in IA?
To receive the cases and gather the facts and then present them to the CARB.
Okay, and to be clear, you weren't investigating whether an officer had committed a crime or anything like that?
No, ma'am, it was non-criminal misconduct.
Okay. So, you mentioned receiving the cases. Can you give the arbitrator a little bit of background on how you receive an IA case?
The administrative sergeant, once we receive cases through Blue Team or through, the department or maybe an external, like the citizens come in to make a complaint, the administrative sergeant will get it, and then, based on the rotation, he or she will then, assign you the case.
Okay. And you were assigned to the Castro investigation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you take us through your general investigative process?
I remember the citizen came in, made a complaint, and so, I began by looking at his statement, his interview, what his complaints were. And then from there, I try to gather all the facts, if there's any co-ban, body cam, police reports, supplements. I just gather everything.
And is that generally the practice that you follow for most IA investigations or all IA investigations?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. Once you've gathered all the evidence, do you interview the officer?
Eventually, yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. And do you typically do written interrogatories or an interview?
I will do both.
Both?
Not both to the same person, but depending on the case, I'll do written interrogatories or I'll do the audio interviews.
And I want to talk about one of the binders in front of you. So it's the binder on the right-hand side. Yes, it's not. All right. So this will be Joint Exhibit 1. For an IA file, there's a right and left side, correct?
Correct.
So if you could take a look at that exhibit in front of you, under tab A, okay, and then under tab A there will be tabs 1 through 40. Do you see that?
Yes.
You can go ahead and it's a lot, but I know just briefly glance through it. Can you tell the hearing examiner what that part of Exhibit 1, or Joint Exhibit 1 is?
This is a copy of my investigation for this case.
And your investigation also included recordings, correct?
Yes.
So those would be missing from the paper binder.
Right, yes, if there's no DVDs or anything, then that part is missing.
And to clarify, Madam Arbitrator, we have a flash drive with all of the DVDs, or all of the documents that aren't in paper form. So all of the co-ban video, the interviews, the intake from the complainant, the citizen complaint, they are all included on that flash drive. All right, and and that would be the right side of the IA file, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, can you flip to tab B of Joint Exhibit 1?
Okay.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, I don't have that binder with the tabs, I do have. You have an extra, I don't have the tabs, so when you first tabs, I got the page number, so that might be a little.
Okay, I split it, so I know they're also referred to as document
So
number.
much. I printed everything, but I didn't have tabs.
And the tabs under tab A reflect the document number that they were named in the IA file.
Thank you.
All right, so we were on tab B. Can you tell the hearing examiner what is under tab B of Joint Exhibit 1?
So when the cases get presented to CARB, before they do, they have to be reviewed by the CARB members assigned. And so it's a reading log. Appears to be voting sheets from the hearing, things of that nature.
So would that be the left side of the IA file?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned CARB. Can you describe briefly for us what the CARB is?
Sure, it's the Chief's Complaint and Administrative Review Board. It's comprised of sworn and citizens, usually 7 sworn, and I think typically it's maybe 3 to 5 citizens. They're advisory in nature. They review the case, they hear the case. If the complainant wishes to come in and speak, he or she, they'll listen to them. If the officer comes in, the respondent, they'll listen to them. I'll briefly, if they have questions, I'll answer, and then after hearing everything, they'll, make a vote in silent, you know, it's not a group effort. They vote on their own, and then they'll have a kind of like a majority finding. If they sustain an allegation, then they'll have a vote for what would be the, I guess, the discipline.
Okay.
And then this is all presented to Chief McManus.
Okay, so the entire IA file gets sent to Chief McManus.
Yes, along with all the voting sheets and
Okay.
what's recommended.
And you mentioned that there is a log of things, items that individuals review. Is the right side what is submitted to CARD for review?
Yes, everything other than my investigation report, because that's the very last thing that I do, but nobody sees this other than, you know, until I completely turn it in. But it's not seen by the CARD members either. And it's just a rehash of the information that's already here.
Okay.
So it's nothing new.
Now, you mentioned that this case came in as a citizen complaint.
Correct.
How can you, was it Mr. Wilson who made the complaint?
Yes, ma'am. I believe he came in on a Friday, which was, I was off that day, but then we have investigators in IA that are assigned to phone duty, and they have to handle any other walk-ins that come in. So Mr. Wilson came in to make a complaint. So he sat down, I believe, with Sergeant Mike Moore, went through everything, detailed what issues he had, what his complaint was. That was all recorded, and then eventually passed along to me.
Right. And under Joint Exhibit 1, Tab A, can you flip to Document 4? And it'll be Tab 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. Can you please tell the hearing examiner what this document is?
It's just a statement information sheet. The citizens will come in, so we at least have some background information on who they are, some address. That way, if we need to get in touch with them again, we have a way of doing so.
Okay. And so this is what you were describing Mr. Wilson filling out when he came in?
Correct.
Okay. And then if you turn to the next document, document number 5, SAPD 13. Can you please describe what this document is?
So it's a formal complaint acceptance form, which basically states, you've come in, we're telling you that we're gonna look at your investigation, but if we expect your cooperation. If we have further questions, we'd appreciate you returning our calls and providing more details if we need. So it's just, they come in and it's kind of like a receipt for them. Like, I made a complaint, y'all are gonna look at it, and I'm gonna cooperate.
Okay. And Mr. Wilson was interviewed, you said, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that interview was recorded?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that interview a part of your IA file?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and if we go to the front of your IA file at SAPD 3, or actually SAPD 4.
Sorry, tab 4?
No, it's at the very front of tab A. It's actually SAPD 8.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
If you look at document number 32, would his interview be included in those recordings?
Yes, it would have been.
Okay. All right. Now, if you turn to document number 6, and it starts at SAPD 14,
Okay.
can you please tell us what these documents are as part of your IA file?
These are Mr. Wilson's medical records.
How did y'all come to have these records?
I believe he provided them.
When he came in to make the citizen complaint?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember what Mr. Wilson's complaints were?
Just that officers entered his home illegally and basically used excessive force on him.
What about injuries?
I believe it was a broken nose, orbital socket, and other severe facial injuries, I guess, in general.
All right, so you mentioned that you gather supplemental reports, incident reports, and all the video code and that sort of thing,
Correct.
right? Okay, I want to take a minute and review some of those videos and documents that you have in your IA file. And so, Arbitrator, if I could project onto the screen. The first video we'd like to play, it's labeled as SAPD 160. It's the body worn camera video from Officer Castro.
And that is what's reflected in the,
Yes.
that summary, okay.
Yes.
And how will if I were to plug this in, it's gonna pop up as, SAPD 160, or how is it?
It will pop, it should have SAPD 160 as the base label, and it should also have the actual name of the native file, like the native file name, BWC Video Officer Carlos Castro.
Great, thank you.
This video has been clipped. It plays from the very first, like the first second of the body worn camera footage. The videos are extremely long. They go for hours. But this does reflect uninterrupted the first 5 minutes. Sorry, my apologies. 160 is the Coban footage.
Is that what you're gonna show?
Yes, and it's the first uninterrupted 5 minutes. There's no volume on Coban.
Oh, you don't have volume.
Oh, there's no volume on this one.
Okay.
at least a portion of the first 5 minutes of the video that you collected from Officer Castro's body cam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It
did you
does.
review that when gathering documents in your IA investigation?
I did.
And can you describe for the arbitrator what Coban is, that kind of video that we were just watching?
Coban at the time was our in-car video system. It's, you know, you can activate it. It's constantly recording. Maybe not always recording, but if you needed it to, you can kind of get it fail-safe. But long story short, when they hit the lights, it's supposed to begin recording.
Okay. And can you manually hit it to start recording before you turn on your lights?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Would that have been what happened here?
Perhaps, yes.
Okay.
More than likely.
Okay. And so the next video I want to take a look at will be, it's labeled as SAPD 156. This is the first uninterrupted 5 minutes of Officer Castro's body-worn camera footage.
Traffic stop.
Ain't no motherfucking traffic stop.
There's a traffic stop.
No motherfucking traffic stop. You can't come here. That's a violation.
Better. We're not doing anything stupid.
You can't come in here.
Better show us your hands, man.
You can't come in
You
here.
better show us your hands.
You don't come to hit this goddamn door.
You better show us your hands. No, I just don't know what he has.
You can't come in here.
Better show us what you have.
You can't come in here.
Show me your hands, QC
You
eyes.
can't come in here.
Show us your hands, man. Show us your hands. You're gonna get hurt.
You can come in here.
Show us your hands. You're gonna get hurt.